Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Robert Dunn. I work with IB Exchange. Um, I have just a couple quick announcements, and then I will get out of the way. Um, First, let's see. I just want to let everyone know that there are quite a few people registered today. So please share all your thoughts in the chat. But the chat should start moving a little fast. So if you have a question that you would like one of us to answer, especially Joe, please use the Q&A function, which will allow stuff to stick around. And if you can't see that, you might need to click the three dots where it says more, and then you'll see that Q&A function. Um, Please, if you would like to see captions generated in, I think, 31 different languages, you can turn that on. Um, and yeah, please say hello and where you are in the world right now. Seems like oh, that's cool. Got someone from Shenzhen, from Saudi. So welcome. Um, in case you don't know, IB Exchange is a resource library for IB teachers to share ideas and find free, cool stuff. Um, and we put on a lot of community events such as this. I am joined by our Language B and Ab Initio moderator, Geraldine. Geraldine, thank you so much for being here. Um, and uh, to access IB Exchange, you can log into My IB, and then you should see a tile that says IB Exchange, like is shown on the screen. And if you, for any reason, do not see that, uh, or if you have any other issues, please email, excuse me, please email support@ibo.org and they will be glad to sort you out. Um, Without further ado, I'm going to fade into the background so that we can start the show. Thank you so much.
Bonjour everyone, I am Geraldine, the IB Exchange moderator. I am joining you from Lebanon today, and I will highly encourage you to go to the IB Exchange community where you can find a lot of resources. If you need, I will be posting, often I post also information. If you have any question, please do let me know and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Monsieur Joe Dale, an internationally recognized language consultant from the UK and a leading expert in educational technology and AI in the language learning. Joe has worked with organizations including the British Council, BBC, Microsoft, and The Guardian, and has delivered training and keynote presentation across Europe, the United States, the Middle East, Asia, and Australia as well. Currently, Joe is serving as an AI project lead for the National Consortium for Language Education. Joe is at the forefront of helping educators integrate AI into teaching and learning, recently described by The Guardian as the MFL guru. He also leads the thriving Facebook community, if you would like to join him, Language Teaching with AI, which now has more than 6,500 members. Please join me in welcoming Joe. Welcome.
Thank you so much for that really lovely introduction, Geraldine. That was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to everybody. We've got people literally from all over the world, which is just fabulous. So I'm going to share my screen and my sound like that. There we are. And if it's okay, I'm just going to take a screenshot because I would like to write a post about this afterwards. And so with a screenshot, I can then be able to do that. So I'm just going to smile. There we are. I'll take my quick screenshot and I'll be able to use that later. Amazing. Lovely. I'll just save that and we're good to go. Perfect. Okay, so welcome everybody. I've got the chat open on my second screen, and I've also got the Q&A box as well. So I would really encourage you to ask me questions during the session because I want this to be as interactive as possible. You'll see exactly how it's going to work in a moment, but essentially I'll be asking you for suggestions on ideas and content, and I'm going to try and build everything live in the session. So touch wood, it all works okay. We are recording the session, so it means that you can watch the recording back as many times as you need to, and I will be writing a detailed summary, which I'll be sharing in my Facebook group, Language Teaching with AI, and I'll also be sharing on LinkedIn and other social media platforms as well. But I'm really delighted and honoured to be doing this webinar. Myself and Rob have been talking about this for ages, and Geraldine very kindly recommended me in the first place. So this is not something that's just happened. I've really tried to create something which I think will be useful for lots of you. And just before we started the webinar, Rob told me that 830 plus people had registered. So right now we've got quite a few people. We haven't got as many as that, but it's amazing that you're here live. So I would encourage you to interact with me during the session. That's great. So a bit more background about myself. So Geraldine's done a great job in that introduction, but just to clarify, I was a languages teacher myself for 13 years. I taught French at 3 years at secondary school level, or K-12 if you're based in the States, and then 10 years at middle school level working with 9 to 13-year-olds. So I've got upper primary and secondary school experience, and I've been an independent languages consultant for about 17 years now. And as has been mentioned, I've been traveling all over the world and speaking at conferences and running training here, there, and everywhere. And recently in January 2026, I became an Irish citizen as well. So I'm now British and Irish citizenship, which means I can now travel in Europe and work in Europe the way that I used to before Brexit. So my contact details I'll be giving you on the last slide. I'll be sharing the whole presentation with you via a QR code a bit later on, but let's get into it. Okay, so I've called the session Surefire Hits with AI in the languages classroom. The idea is I'll be showing you how you can create lots of different activities from one topic, one source. So let's see. I can't believe how people are literally from all over the world in this session. It's wonderful. Okay, so in this session, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be exploring and experimenting with how AI can help language teachers to plan lessons, create listening activities, support speaking practice, generate reading resources, design assessment materials, and produce engaging worksheets, all from a single topic suggested by the audience. Now, before I get on to the next slide, I would be interested to know how AI savvy the audience are. So could you put in the chat a number from 1 to 4, where 1 is you're a newbie to AI. In other words, you've maybe heard of ChatGPT, but you've never used it before, or other large language models. 2 would be that you've maybe made a couple of lesson plans, or you've made a couple of worksheets. That's about all. 3 would be that you're regularly using AI for lesson planning and resource creation. And 4 would be that you've really got some really good prompt engineering skills and you're a bit of a ninja in using AI. So I can see that most people, as a quick look, are 3s, but we've got lots of 4s as well and 2. So yeah, so I haven't seen any newbies yet. So I'm going to try and show you some things you've not seen before, but it looks like we've got a particularly AI savvy audience, which is just wonderful. Okay. Don't forget as well in the chat, click everyone if you want everyone to see your message, as opposed to hosts and panelists. Okay. So choose everyone when you send your messages. That's great. Thank you so much, everyone. So that's the idea. That's what we're going to try and do. Before we get into the activities, I always talk about the responsible use of AI, the ethical use of AI. So some key principles which I talk about, which other people talk about, are as follows. Never upload any identifiable student data. don't share your own personal data as well with a large language model, because you have to be very careful. If you're working in an environment with, say, using Microsoft or Google, say you're using Gemini or Microsoft Copilot, and you have an agreement in place, which means that the data that you put into the large language model, which is the generic term around tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, that it's not sent to the company to train its bot, then potentially it could be okay to share certain types of data with that particular large language model you're using, but you need to check with your organization about that. Again, a quick straw poll. Could you indicate in the chat if your school has an AI policy or not? So does your school or district have an AI policy? Just write yes or no. So lots of yeses. That's interesting because I've been finding in the UK anyway, lots of schools have not got them in place. I would say, just as a quick straw poll, that probably most of you are saying yes, although we've got a few more no's now. That's interesting as well. So we have this paradox whereby we know that students are using AI, but as a teacher, are you allowed to condone the use of AI in the classroom with the students if you don't have an AI policy in place? Or does the AI policy make it very clear on what you can and cannot do? So that's very interesting as well. Thank you for doing that. Always check all AI generated content, because AI can make mistakes, can hallucinate, as we say, can produce biased information. I normally talk about the idea of, if you ask ChatGPT, for example, to create an image of a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, and a boss, then normally the doctor will be male, 40 or so, white. The nurse will be female, maybe 30, not white. The teacher will probably be mid-20s, beautiful, white, and the boss probably will be a grey-haired man wearing a suit and tie. So you have these biases within the data sets that large language models use to generate results. And apparently a lot of that data has come from North America, which is showing certain biases. So we need to make sure, if we're going to produce diverse content for our students, which obviously is what we want to do, we need to adapt the prompt accordingly. So that's also an important thing to think about as well. You, as the teacher, you are in control. The AI is not in control. You need to make sure that you keep the human in the loop. In other words, that you have human oversight over anything that the AI produces, because you are responsible to make sure that the content is appropriate for the classroom. And use AI to support learning and not replace it. We've got the whole idea of cognitive offloading. In other words, you're just using the AI to do the thinking for you. That's not good for teachers or for students. We need to make sure that we use it in a way in which it's promoting critical thinking. It's promoting you creating different iterations of a final product by going back and forth with the AI. And I'm sure you'll see examples of that when we work through the different ideas today. So there we are. So now we're going to get into the meat of what we're going to do. So the idea is, I would like you to suggest, and it's going to be the first few, we'll see what comes up in the chat. I would like you to suggest a topic which lends itself well to a language lesson. I've got some examples here: travel, daily routine, sport and leisure, local area, school. But I'm more than happy to take other suggestions if you'd like. So could you suggest some topics? And then I'm going to build the rest of the webinar around the topics. So I'll just wait for a few answers to come in. We've got a few things coming in. Daily routine, trigonometry. You do that in languages. Food, okay. Travel or daily routine. Apples. Holidays. I think holidays is a really good one, if that's okay. Travel. Should we go for travel and holidays? Is that okay? Travel and holidays. Okay. Right. So that's the topic we're going to go for. And so now we're going to move on to the next part. So holidays and travel. Right. So first of all, we're going to create a lesson plan. Right. Now, what I've done is, in a moment, I'm going to show you a Google Doc, which I've created. And feel free to follow along at home if you want to while you're doing this. I've created a Google Doc, which has different drop-down menus in it, which allows you to have a scaffold for your prompt to help you improve your prompting. There are some bits you can change and other bits which you would want to keep the same. You'll see when I show you the example in a second. And I've got the link here as well for where you can see what one looks like. And if you want to make your own copy of that, all you have to do is just, can you see where it says edit at the bottom here in the link? You just delete from where it says edit to the end of the link and just replace that with the word copy. And if you do that, you can then make a copy of my prompt builder, and you can then do that very, very easily. So I'll put some links in the chat in a moment. So we're going to look at how we can make a lesson plan, make learning objectives, put in vocabulary, grammar, cultural content, assessment opportunities. So AI can help generate ideas, but teachers make the final decision, which is what I've said already. Okay, so let's do it live. So I've got this lesson planning link here. So I'm going to do it for you. I'll make it even easier for you. So I will change that to the word copy, and then I will select the whole thing and post it into the chat for you. So if you click on that link right now, as I'm going to do, then what should happen? There we are. This is what should now appear on the screen. So this is what's called a forced copy. So it means that you can all make a copy of my original template. So if I now make a copy, and it will now look like this. Now, so you can see now it says copy of IB lesson planning and workshop prompt builder for language teachers. So because I taught French, if it's okay, I'm going to give some a French example for this one, but we can try other languages later on. So at like and experienced, and we've got different options here. If you want to add other languages, you just click add edit options, you click new option, and then you add another language here. So for example, if we wanted to add, let's sort of think Greek, we could do that, Greek teacher, and then we could click on the drop down here and color code it to make it really easy. And likewise, if we want to remove something, we just press delete, and that will only delete it for you. It won't delete it for everyone else. That's why it's important to make a copy. So now I click save, and now we've got Greek as well. If we scroll down, we've got Greek teacher as well. Now, the reason I've started off my prompt with act like is because it's a good principle of using a phrase like act like, because of the fact that it's implying that you want the large language model to play a role, and that is very effective in a prompt. So act like, or you are an experienced French teacher. Act like an experienced French teacher. I need so I've got lesson plan, worksheet, project. Again, you can add something else to this, like a 5-week plan or 6-week plan or what have you. But I'm going to leave that as it is. And now, because we've chosen holidays and travel, I'm going to replace the 3 dots with that, holidays and travel. Right. This lesson is, so again, you've got different times there. I think we'll go for 60 minutes, if that's okay. And aimed at 14 to 16-year-olds. I think if it's, well, you tell me, what age group? And we could add something else as well. We could go for 11 to 13 or 14 to 16. Who's going to suggest it first of all in the chat? 14 to 16. Okay, we'll sit with 14 to 16. Who are working at, so it's going to be A2 level. Okay, so A2 is the equivalent of, in England, of the GCSE. So they've got, say, 3 or 4 years of study. Again, this is really just a guide using the Common European framework for reference. You could say, working at IB level, language B, for example, and go from there. But for this example, I'm just going to go with A2 level. And the skill focus is, as we've got 60 minutes, I think we're going to go for all 4 skills. So here you've got listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Okay, so you can choose. If you just want it to be on listening and speaking, then hi Tamer, by the way. If you just want to have listening and speaking, you would just choose listening and speaking or you would just double up. So instead of reading here, you choose listening, and then instead of writing, you choose speaking, and that's fine. But I'm going to go with reading because I want to do all 4 skills. So the lesson will focus on, again, we've got grammar, we've got vocabulary, we've got phonics. Probably you wouldn't do phonics at this age, so I'm going to leave that as it is. But we're going to have the intercultural dimension, okay? And then we're going to have vocabulary as well. Okay. So in the process, you should ensure that. So it could be, for example, something like this. So I'm going to write this in from scratch. I'm going to say in the process, you should ensure that the vocabulary is an appropriate level and include a range of tenses, e.g., perfect, imperfect, conditional, and simple future. Okay. For avoid, that can be a nice premise. You could say avoid the subjunctive. And if you wanted to, you could list the actual vocabulary that you want to use. It seems that some of you can't copy the link, but can you click on the link? Does that work? If you click on the link, does it work? It might be you can't copy it, but if you click on it, it should take you to a new page, hopefully. Some of you can, some of you can't. Okay, it does work. Okay, it is working. And then for here is an example. That's a really nice idea to give it a good example. For example, a previous lesson plan could be helpful as well, because large language models love an example. But I'm not going to do that right now because I'm just doing this live. So now what I'm going to do is copy this. Can you see? Select the whole thing, and now I'm going to go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste this in. I could do this with Gemini or Copilot. I'm just using ChatGPT because I'm using the premium version of ChatGPT, which is the same as the free version. It's just more or less, it's just that you're more limited with messages. Okay, so look at that prompt. That's a really nice prompt now from the point of view of it's nuanced. It's got some nice parameters in it, such as A2, 60 minutes, the different foci, for example. It's good rather than just create a lesson on travel and holiday. So let's send it in and let's see what happens. So the first draft is probably not going to be one that you use straight away, but let's have a look. So I'll scroll through this slowly so you can see what it looks like. So we've got age group, level, duration, skills, language focus, etc. So avoid the subjunctive. So that's worked really well. Now we've got some learning objectives. Okay, so that's okay. We've got some vocabulary. All right, so different, some countries, some destinations, accommodation, transport, activities. Okay, now it's suggesting start a holiday photo. Okay, etc., etc. Right, now you got the transcript. Now with the transcript, if it was me, I would probably say make that text a bit longer, but you could copy that text and put it into a tool like Love Voice, which is LUVVOICE, Love Voice, LUVVOICE, to generate a natural sounding text to speech. Or you could use a tool like Google AI Studio, which we're going to look at a bit later on. So that's really easy now using AI for text to speech. And if you are the sort of teacher that likes to, in fact, let me just, instead of talking about it, let me just show you. So Love Voice, it's a free tool. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to, there we are, it allows you to not be logged in to the account. You just paste in the text like that. You choose the language and the gender. You've got lots of different languages there. I'm going to choose French from France. I've got Denise and Henri, and let's go for with Denise. And then I click generate. And so I'm not logged in, as I said, and in no time at all, I get a nice model of pronunciation. So if you're the sort of teacher that likes creating bespoke resources, then this is a real winner. And I'll just click generate, and it should do it for me. And you can then just download that audio and do whatever you need with it. And you can have up to 3,000 characters per audio file. So it's doing it right now. And then you'll be able to hear what it sounds like. Here we go. Is it going to work? Okay, I'll just wait.
L'année dernière, je suis allée en Espagne avec ma famille. Nous avons voyagé en avion. Il faisait très chaud tous les jours et il y avait beaucoup de soleil. J'ai nagé dans la mer et j'ai visité plusieurs villes. C'était fantastique. L'année prochaine, je visiterai l'Italie et je resterai dans un hôtel près de Rome.
Okay, then you can download it. You can change the speed by clicking the three dots and playback speed. That will only play it. That will only change the speed in the player. If you use a free media player like VLC player, you can change the speed once you've downloaded it, if that makes sense. Okay, so that is Love Voice and creating a listening activity. Okay, then you've got the comprehension questions there. You've got reading and grammar discovery. You've got a speaking activity, etc., etc. So that looks pretty good. I mean, it may not be perfect. If I had more time, I would go back and forth to get exactly what I wanted. But you get the idea. We are going to do a dialogue, but a bit later on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to carry on. Yeah, VLC player. That's right, VLC player. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for sharing the links and the clarification in the chat. I really appreciate it. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a song based on the content, and we're going to turn it into a song with Suno. So I'm going to make the lyrics in ChatGPT and then turn it into a song. I hope you like the pictures, by the way. I'm very proud of them. So this is suno.com. So again, I'm going to come out of the presentation and go into ChatGPT. Now I'm going to now that's interesting. There's no microphone there. Let me just refresh the page. Normally you have a microphone. When I'm on my Mac, I just click on double tap the FN key. Oh, there we are. Now I've got the microphone again to do dictation, but I can use this now. Here we go. So write a simple, catchy song at A2 level French, including as many of these core vocabulary items and tenses as possible. Write about 12 lines. Okay, so it's now going to do that. It's going to create the lyrics. And so what I like about this is it means you can make sure the lyrics are aligned with your curriculum, with the lesson, etc. Okay, so it's called Mes vacances idéales. There we are. So I'm going to now copy that. And I'm going to go into Suno. Now, Suno, it's free to use. You can create 5 songs a day, and each song you get 2 versions. Okay, so let me show you how it works. You go to Create, and you click on Advanced, like this, because with Advanced, you can then put in your own lyrics. I'll paste in my lyrics like that. I'll go back, and I'll get the title, which, as we all know, is Mes vacances idéales. Go back to Suno, and then I'm going to go to the bottom here and put in the song title. Right, now, I have to choose the style. Would you like to select a style? Anything at all, within reason? Let's see who is the first person to write something. You could have country. Why not? Let's go for country. Okay, that was the first one that came in. Okay, and now I'm going to click Create. Okay, so I'm using up one of my 5 a day. And it's going to, in no time at all, create my song. It normally takes about 10 to 15 seconds to do this. Here we are. Can you see? In a country style. When we say country, because of the data, again, it's probably going to be an American version of country. And it should be ready to go now. So let's have a listen. So as I said, you get 2 versions of the same song, the same lyrics, but 2 slightly different versions. Okay, here's the first one.
L'année dernière, je suis allé en Espagne. J'ai voyagé en avion avec ma famille. Il faisait chaud et il y avait du soleil. J'ai nagé à la plage, c'était merveilleux. Je visitais des monuments dans la ville. Et je prenais des photos très tranquilles. L'année prochaine, j'irai en Italie. Je voyagerai en train avec mes amis.
Okay, so you get the idea. Here's version 2.
L'année dernière, je suis allé en Espagne. J'ai voyagé en avion avec ma famille.
Okay, I think I prefer the first one. So what you can do then, you click on the three dots here, okay, and you go to where it says download, and then you can click download MP3 audio, and this comes up. It says need commercial rights. Because we're using this in education, then it's fine to download it. So you just click download anyway, and then that will, there we are, download to my desktop, and then I can do whatever I want with it as a listening activity or whatever I want to do. Okay, so thank you so much. That was great. I saw it in the Q&A. Someone asked, what if you don't choose advanced? If you don't choose advanced, then you just have to write your prompt, e.g., create a song including these lyrics, etc. But I like to have complete control over saying create a song based on these lyrics, and that's why I do it that way. So that was a great question. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, so we've made a song, and now we're going to practice or model speaking. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate a dialogue, and then I'm going to turn that into an AI generated dialogue, okay, which I know some people have been asking about in the chat. Okay, so let's do that now. So we'll go back to here, and then I'll say, create an A2 level dialogue between two teenagers around 15 years old. One is called Henri, and the other one is called Marie, and they are talking about holidays and travel. Make sure that you use a range of tenses and give opinions, and you include the core content from the lesson. Make sure at the beginning of each line you put the name of the speaker. Okay, something like that. So let's wait and see what happens. There we are. Yeah, looks good to me. What it's actually, it does this sometimes. It actually does it sort of live, as if I'm sort of prompting it live, as it were. So that absolutely looks fine. So you'd obviously have to check that. But let me just send it in and see what happens now. But it's basically done the work for me. Okay, there we are. So that's fine as well. Oh, that's slightly different, I think. Okay, so then you've got the vocab, grammar, and you could obviously just check it, but that looks pretty good to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go into Google AI Studio. Okay. For this one, I can maybe share the prompts with you afterwards, but I'm sort of obviously doing it all live, and you'll have the recording, so you'll be able to listen back to what I'm doing. Okay, so it's just I wanted to do it all live, and dictating is much quicker than actually writing the prompts down. But I can include the prompt within the summary that I write later. Okay. So in Google AI Studio, you have to be 18 plus to use it. So this is not something that the students can use to create dialogues. You'd have to do that as a teacher. Likewise with Suno, you have to be 13 plus to create an account and to make songs, but you would need to have parental permission. So if you want your students to make songs, you'd have to get parental permission from the parents to do that. So what I would recommend is that you generate the lyrics yourself, or you get the students to generate the lyrics. However they do that, just by using their brains or what have you. And then you can turn, let's say, the best examples into a song. That's what I would do. So in Google AI Studio, what is the age for Loud Voice? It's 16 plus, even though you're not logged in. But I always use a tool called Perplexity, which is PERPLEXITY. You put in the prompt, something like, how old do you need to be to use X, Y, and Z tool? And it will then search the internet and then find some results, and then it will then use AI to generate a response. So there we are. Okay, so I'm in Google AI Studio. You make sure you click on the models option, not the agents option, and you choose speech and music. From there, you've got these different models, and the one I would recommend that you choose is Gemini 3.1 Flash TTS Preview. So you just click here, like that. And then this comes up, and you've got a number of different sort of templates for different types of voices. But what you do is you just click here where it says turn text into natural sounding speech. This then comes up, and then what you do is you paste in the sample context, you paste in the dialogue, and then likewise you do the same thing here, like that. Now for the scene, we could write something like two I can't remember what age I said. Let's say 15-year-olds. Two 15-year-olds discussing holidays and travel in A2 level French. Okay, so this is when you say what the context is, basically. Okay, so then you've got the dialogue here, the dialogue here. Now you click here where it says speaker one, right? So the first person to speak is Henri. Okay, so you click here and you choose a male voice. So this one's a male voice. Okay, so I'm going to choose that one. Now it says current, and then here you say something like 15-year-old boy. Okay, I'll just copy that and then I can then paste it in for the next one, 15-year-old girl. Right, so then here under style, you could choose, say, empathetic. The pace, you could choose natural. Ignore the accent one. You don't need to do that. Okay, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you click the X there to close the speaker settings. And then having done that, you click add speech block underneath. And this is going to add speaker 2. So you do that. And then from there, what you do is you click on speaker 2 Puck. And now you want a female voice. So let's try this one, Ashana. And you can listen to each one as well just by clicking on the play button.
What idea do you want to bring to life?
Yeah, or the previous one, Ashid.
What sparks your interest?
Okay. Now, I know that those don't sound like 15-year-olds, but they will once we generate the content, or hopefully they will anyway. So under audio profile, we paste this in, but this time we're going to say 15-year-old girl. And we're going to choose style. We'll just do the same thing, empathetic and natural. Okay. And that's it. And now we can click run. So we click run and then we just wait. Okay. While we're doing that, I can see some questions. Why are you not using Mizu? Isn't that easier? Mizu is completely different. Mizu is designed for students to interact with each other. What we're doing here is we're creating the model of a dialogue, which could be for listening practice or for speaking practice as well. Because I've shown Mizu many, many times.
Salut Marie.
And here we are.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, merci. Et toi?
Ça va. Tu as passé de bonnes vacances?
Oui, j'ai passé des vacances géniales. Je suis allée à la plage avec ma famille.
Super. Où es-tu allé?
Nous sommes allés à la mer Méditerranée. C'était très beau.
J'aime la Méditerranée. J'y suis allé l'année dernière.
Ah, cool! Tu es allé où?
Je suis allé à Nice. C'était fantastique.
Nice, c'est une belle ville. J'aimerais y aller un jour.
Oui, tu devrais. La nourriture est délicieuse. Et
Okay, so I can see a couple of you said things like, can you perform one in English language? You just have the transcripts in the English language and it will do it in English. If you want to slow down the speed, you'd have to download the audio and then use a player like the VLC player I talked about, or in your scene, in your voice setting, if you click on one of these, for example, you could under audio profile, you could say speak slowly, or in the scene setting as well. Here you could say make sure that both characters speak more slowly, that sort of thing, and then it will then adapt accordingly. And then if you click download, okay, and click save, you've now got the audio file, and away we go. Okay. Right. I don't know about you, but I think that is the best example of text-to-speech I've ever heard from AI. I think it's absolutely fabulous. It's as good as a textbook, I think. So if you're the sort of teacher that likes creating bespoke listening materials, then Google AI Studio, I appreciate it's a few steps, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Okay. Right. So Love Voice is for text to voice, and this Google AI Studio is better for dialogues. Yeah. So you can't produce a dialogue with Love Voice. With Google AI Studio, you could produce a narration, a one-person speaker, or up to 2 people for a dialogue. So I think it's the best one for dialogues. In relation to Arabic, I've just written a whole long blog post about the session I did on Saturday in Newcastle about using AI for Arabic teaching. So check that one out as well. Okay, right. Don't forget, we're going to have 15 minutes of Q&A at the end as well. Okay, so let's carry on. Hopefully that's giving you an idea of how you can use AI, Google AI Studio, to create dialogues. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how you can use AI for generating different types of reading materials very easily. So I've sort of shown you some examples already with ChatGPT, but it's also really easy to create different levels of different texts as well. So you could, for example, say, make this more complicated, use more tenses, or make this simpler, or this is aimed at a younger age group, so you need to simplify this. So you can do that just in a large language model, or you could use a tool such as Diffit, which is Diffit, which I wasn't planning on showing today, but that is a really nice free tool which allows you to differentiate content, and it works very nicely in Arabic as well as other languages. So I'd recommend doing that as well. But you can certainly create source material which is aligned with your curriculum, which is specific with different topics, but you need to keep the human in the loop. You need to check it's correct, it hasn't hallucinated, and you need to go back and forth with it to make sure you get what you want. Yeah, I'll just put it in the chat. So it's Diffit. There we are. And it's brilliant for differentiation, I think, AI, in the way that you can use these sorts of tools. There's also Brisk Teaching as well, which is a Chrome extension which allows you to change the level of text as well. With cultural content, I would just check that it's definitely true. I use a tool like Perplexity for fact checking, because sometimes, or certainly a couple of years ago, ChatGPT would sound very convincing, but would just make up cultural content. So sometimes you just need to absolutely double check that when they're talking about, let's say, a festival or a cultural event, that it does actually exist. It's not just made it up. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at a tool called EdCafe, and we're going to make a multimodal resource. In other words, reading and listening. So this time what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to my lesson plan, and I'm going to say the following. Create a 100-word text at A2 level French on the same topic, including the same tenses and the same core vocabulary, including the two same characters. Describe a disastrous holiday that both characters have been on, and add a twist at the end. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with right now. And it should then be able to easily produce a text. If I felt the text wasn't right for us, then I could say make it more difficult, make it easier, etc., etc. Right, there we are. So now we've got the text, we've got the vocabulary, grammar highlights, perfect tense, etc., etc. So that's really nice. I didn't ask it to create me follow-up questions, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this text, and I'm going to go into this tool, which is called EdCafe, right? So this is a free tool. There is a premium tier, but what I'm showing you right now is completely free. So I'm logged in. I'm going to click Create New here or here. Then I'm going to click on Reading Activity here. There's lots of other things you can do, like you can create chatbots and things like that, a bit like Mizu, but I'm not doing that today. So I'm going to click on Reading Activity. This will then come up. I can choose to create a text around a topic, a web page, or files, but I'm going to choose text. I'm going to paste in the text like this, and then I'm going to choose the output language, and I'm going to choose French, and then I'm going to click Generate Reading Activity, like that. Obviously, the additional instructions, you can put in some extra content. Now, I can see immediately it's decided to make a much longer text, but that's okay. All I have to do is select everything. It's all editable, and then paste in the actual text that I want. Can you see what I just did then? Okay, so you can make sure you've got exactly the text that you want, and then it says add audio. Let's do this first. You click add audio, and this is why it's multimodal. So we've got Elise, we've got Louis. Let's choose Louis, and we'll click. Well, let's have a quick listen.
La simplicité et la sophistication suprême.
Okay, so we ideally want a younger one. I think they're probably all older ones, but let's have another. Let's listen to Francois.
On n'est point toujours une bête pour l'avoir été quelquefois.
Okay, let's go with Francois. Then you click Generate Audio. So yes, you can create a number of assignments for free, but if you want to have more than that, then you need to pay. So now let's click on Add Vocabulary. Okay, so it's now going to generate the vocabulary. I've got the listening and the reading, so that's why it's multimodal. Okay, and I can click on Add Passage Quiz as well. So here I can choose multiple choice, short answer, or mix. I'm going to choose multiple choice. Number of questions, I'm going to go for 10. And I could add some additional instructions, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click Generate Passage Quiz. Okay. I can see people are asking about, does it work in such a language? Just give it a go. All I would say is give it a go and see if it works or not. Okay. I've not tested it in Urdu, but I've got more experience of how these tools work in Arabic. But you have to just give it a go, follow the recording and try it out. So you can see here you've got explanations for each one, which is very nice. All has been generated automatically. And let's have a quick listen to the audio as well, see what you think.
L'été dernier, Marie et Paul sont allés à la plage. Il faisait très chaud. Ils ont conduit pendant 2 heures. Quand ils sont arrivés, il y avait beaucoup de monde. Ils n'ont pas trouvé de place pour se garer. Ensuite, il a beaucoup plu. Ils ont dû rentrer à la maison sans bronzer. C'était une catastrophe. Mais finalement, ils ont ri de cette aventure.
There we are. So I think that's very, very usable, a nice model. So then you click on Save, and then you put in a title. Let's just go for Mes vacances, my holidays. You can choose to make it public or private. I'm going to make it private, and it's you want to keep it in your library. So then you click Save. Okay, and now what's it done? Hang on. I click Save. Let me just refresh the page, because normally what should happen now is it should say Assign. So just give me a second. There we are. So it's Mes vacances. Okay, so I click on that, and then I click Assign. So you've got the QR code, you've got the link. Okay, I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go to a new tab, and I'm going to paste it in. This, by the way, I created this myself. This is a Chrome extension, and it's just lots of hotkeys that I've made. You just click on them, and it takes you to your favorite websites, and all of this is editable. If you look at my LinkedIn in December last year, you'll find the post where I've written about it, and you can download it, and you can install it yourself. But it's not on the web store, unfortunately, because they wouldn't let me put it on because, oh, hang on. Hasn't copied the link. Let's go back, because it said that you can't have anything with Google search, basically. So that was a bit annoying, but never mind. Let's do that again. Copy link. But I just use it now. But if anyone wants to use it, they can just download it. I use it every day. It's amazing. Right, here we are. Here is the link. And you go to the bottom. You put in your name. This is GDPR compliant, by the way. Okay, again, we've got questions around other languages like Hindi. I don't know, just try it. Just try it out. So then you've got the audio, you've got the text, you've got the vocab, etc. And then the students just have to go in and just click on each one. So let's click that one, for example. In fact, let me just do this very quickly. I'm not sure about that one. I'm just guessing now, because obviously I did this very quickly. Let's just click on any of them. And then you click Submit Quiz. Okay, and it will tell you what your results are. Okay, I have no idea whether this website is available in China. You'll have to check it out. You'll have to find it out. I don't know the answer to everything. Okay, there we are. So now, if I got it wrong, it gives me the correct answer, etc., etc. It gives me an explanation. It's just very nice, I think. Okay, and once you've done that, you get a percentage, and if I then go back here, I can see that someone has submitted. I click on that, and then I can see the average score, and then there's some analytics, etc., etc. So if I click on here, I can see exactly what the student has done. You get the idea. So if you like the look at this, it might be something you want to invest in, but you can certainly use it as a starter for free. Okay. Right. Okay. I can put if you'd like, I can put the link in the chat. If I can do that, I'm not sure. I may have missed that opportunity. Let me just see. Yeah, you have to just try it out. You have to just try it, because I've got other things I want to show as well. Right. So let's carry on. Right. Creating quizzes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same text and I'm going to make a quiz from it using Brisk Teaching. Okay, so I go back to here. I take the same text again, and I'm going to paste this into a Google Doc like this. Okay, so just standard text. Now I've got this Chrome extension installed, which is called Brisk Teaching. Brisk Teaching for many years, or a couple of years, worked seamlessly with Google Drive. Now, as of August 2025, it now works with Microsoft as well. So OneDrive. So you do need to give permission for it to access your Google Drive or your OneDrive. It is GDPR compliant, but you need to make sure, let's just get rid of that. You need to make sure that your school is happy for you to do this. I've been using it for ages. Lots of people around the world use it, and it works really nicely. So I'm logged in with my Google account, which is how I'm going to use it, but it would work equally well with Microsoft as well. Okay, so don't forget, I'm going to be sharing all the links in the presentation also. Right, so let's go back to here, and let me go here. This is the little Brisk Teaching icon, which appears once you've installed the extension. So you click on this, and then you click Create. From there, there's lots of things you can do. You can make a podcast, which you haven't done today, but that's another nice thing to do. You can make a quiz, and there's other things you can do as well. Okay, so let me click on Quiz. Let me click Next. And then here, you choose the language. Lots of languages to choose from. I'm going to choose French again because I've been consistent with that throughout. I appreciate you might not be a French speaker, but I'm just trying to be consistent with the one topic and lots of activities. Right. The level, we said sort of 15-year-old, so that's going to be sort of 9th grade, 10th grade. Let's go for 10th grade. Then click Done. I'm going to choose multiple choice, and I'm going to choose, let's stick with 8 questions. Why not? Then here, I'm just going to write my prompt. So I'm going to say something like create. There we are. It's remembered it from last time. So I just press tab to put it in. So I'm going to change this to the right language. And there we are. Create 10 multiple choice questions at A2 level French about this text. Okay. Then I'll click Brisket, and then it will do its magic. I've taken my hands off the keyboard. It's doing it all for me. I'm not doing anything else now. AI is doing everything. So if I was logged in with a Microsoft account, I could do this in Microsoft Word and generate the quiz as a Microsoft quiz. If I was on YouTube, I could create a podcast from the YouTube clip, etc., etc. Lots of things you can do. As a teacher, you'd have to go through and just check that everything is correct, that it's the right level, etc., etc. And all of the questions have all been formatted. The correct answer has got a tick next to it. Likewise with Microsoft quizzes, it works in the same way. And you've got the answer key here as well, 1 point per question. Again, the same thing is done in Microsoft. So from there, all you have to do is click the share option, having checked it for accuracy, etc. Click copy responder link. Very similar in Microsoft. Share it with your students. They then read the text, fill in the answers, and they'll be automatically marked, and the answers will appear in the response section, which is here, and you just can then see them here or open them up in a Google Sheet or Microsoft Excel worksheet instead if you're working with Microsoft. And then here where it says form description, you can just paste in the text that I created, or you could take a screenshot of it and add it as an image if you wanted to. Hopefully that's nice and clear on how that would work. Okay, right. Let's carry on. Right. So now this is very exciting. I'm going to create a worksheet live. This is the first time I've ever done this in a webinar, so I hope it's going to work. And let's go for it. I'm going to share this prompt with you. It's a very long prompt, but I'm going to share it with you in the chat because I know people are going to be asking for it. Originally, it was written for creating a storybook, but I'm not going to use it that way. It works exactly the same way in the way that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to copy this text, go to ChatGPT again. So I'm in ChatGPT even. I'm going to go to a new chat and I'm going to paste in the text like that. I'm now going to go to my prompt and I'm going to copy the whole thing and go to ChatGPT and paste it in. If it works, what should happen is we should get a cartoonized worksheet or workbook. You can make multiple pages if you want to. And so there it is. I'm going to send it in and we'll see what happens. It's going to ask me a number of questions and we're going to go from there. Okay. So, I'm going because I'm going to do it. I think if it's in English, it's going to be easier. Okay. So give your instructions in English. And then everyone can sort of see more easily. Here we are. Okay. Right. So you provided a short French text about disaster trip to the beach. What would you like me to create with it? Okay. So I'm going to say a double page worksheet at A2 level French. Okay. So there we are. It's now giving me the different activities, etc., etc. Okay. So you could then go back and forth with it, but let's say I was happy with that. I could then say create an image of this worksheet in a cartoon style. I'll be honest with you, it hasn't quite worked the way I wanted, but I think it should work anyway if I do this now. So it should now, there we are. So now it's going to create an image. And so what you would have done as a teacher is you would have gone through and just checked that you were happy with all these question types. So there weren't any mistakes, etc. Normally you get a number of different questions that come up, but I think it should work anyway. And we'll just wait to see what happens. Now, obviously, I noticed in the chat someone was mentioning about, I think it was Paulino was mentioning about the environmental issue with AI. It's true to say that AI requires a lot of water, a lot of power to run. It's true that when you're generating images, that takes more water and power compared to text-based prompts. And so we need to think carefully about whether we really need such an image or not, because of the effect it has on the environment. But at the same time, we are looking at how we can use AI in language teaching, which is why obviously I'm demonstrating this right now. But we need to definitely be mindful and not just make images for the sake of making images. But when you're just doing sort of back and forth with text, it uses a lot less power and water compared to creating images. So obviously I could have a look at this. I know that's maybe not big enough for you to see, but hopefully you get the idea. Maybe I know if I just download it right now and put it into desktop and then click save and then open up from there. There we are. So if I now go full screen, now let's just zoom in a little bit in each bit so you can have a quick look at this. You get the idea. Probably there aren't going to be any mistakes. If you find a mistake, then you can go back into ChatGPT and ask it to change the mistake. Or in Canva now, there's a new feature called Magic Layers, which you can use even for free. So you can upload the image, and then you can then run Magic Layers, and it will turn each part of the worksheet into a separate sort of editable text box, which you can then change from there. Can you see? So I'm just showing this to you now quickly. So I would have presumed that I would have, gone through and just checked that all the language, etc., was all fine. But that looks good to me. And there we are. Okay, let me go back to my presentation, but hopefully that was nice and clear. And let's carry on. Okay, so, and you can see the prompt is here as well. You to have a go yourselves. Right, so key takeaways from the session are start with learning goals, not tools. I've been saying that for years. Focus on the pedagogy, not the shiny of the technology. You can create one prompt to get you going, and then from that one prompt or that one chat session, you can make multiple multimodal resources, which is what I've tried to show you today. Always review the content that AI makes, because it could be biased or it could include hallucinations or that sort of thing. Make sure that you have human oversight. You don't just expect the AI to do all the heavy lifting for you, that you check it, you keep the human in the loop. And yes, you focus on pedagogy before technology. Okay. So let's carry on. If you'd like to stay in touch with me, my email address is joedell@talk21.com. I've got a YouTube channel, which has got a few videos to do with AI. So if you want to hear my voice for hours and hours, that's an opportunity. If you're on LinkedIn and you want to connect with me there, you can do that. I've got a Facebook group called Language Teaching with AI, which has got 6,500 members, and I'd love to see some more there as well. If you'd like to join, there were 3 questions to answer, and then the group's rules. If you don't answer the questions or agree to the group's rules, unfortunately, you're declined automatically after 1 hour, because it's only me doing the admin. But if you want to join, you're more than welcome to do so. And if you're interested, if you want a bit more Joe Dell, as it were, then back in February 2026, so only a few months ago, I ran a brand new updated version of my Language Teaching with AI webinar series, which includes some of these ideas I've shared today, plus many, many others. It's 6 hours of recordings over 4 webinars, 90 minutes each. And there are individual prices, and there are also departmental prices as well. And if you'd like to invite me to your school or your district or your multi-academy trust, whatever you would like, let me know. And I would love to come and do face-to-face training or online training if it's easier as well. And the link to this is here, which is a Google form. You just fill it in. I will then invoice you, and then you pay it via Bax or whatever you want. Okay. And there is the presentation. So I'll put that in the chat. And I think that's bang on time, more or less. So we've got 10 or so minutes for questions. And so I'm going to hand back now to Rob. And there is the presentation. Thank you so much, everyone, for your lovely your comments in the chat. I'm really pleased it seemed to work. So I'm handing back to Geraldine. And Rob. I'm really pleased it worked. I was a bit nervous it might not work, but I think basically everything I wanted to do, I was able to do. And I would just say experiment. Try one idea and try it out. I've got an idea of how AI savvy people are in the room. So if you're very AI savvy for a 3 or a 4, maybe you can try lots of ideas. If you're new to this sort of thing, just try one idea and then go from there. So I'm going to stop sharing. So to do that, I need to, I think I've got too many windows open. Hi, here we are. I'm going to click stop share. There we are, and hand back to Geraldine and Rob. Thanks so much, everyone.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. That was super interesting. If you have a couple more moments, there are several questions in the Q&A that we can address. There was one about access to IB Exchange, which I wrote an answer about, but most of these are about AI, and I am not as familiar with that as you are. So yeah, if you just want to open those up,
Okay, so shall I open up the Q&A?
yeah, if you do
Yeah.
that, then
Okay. So
then you can
let's have a
kind
look.
of
Okay.
answer
But
as
obviously, I'm just reading these live, as it were. So let's have a look. Right. We've got one from Vanessa. Could we use this prompt? So I think that was to do with the lesson planning. Could we use this prompt as we create an agent with these abilities? I haven't personally made a customized agent yet. You can in tools like ChatGPT or Gemini. Gemini, they're called gems. ChatGPT, they're called custom GPTs. You just go to the feature within the large language model, and then click on create or what have you, or build. And then I would say try it out. But as I say, one, I haven't created my own agents yet, but I think that is really quite advanced. And so what I would do in your situation is go onto YouTube if you don't know how to make agents, but it sounds like you do. So the honest answer is I don't know, but I don't see why it couldn't be adapted to an agent if that was your thing. Okay, let's do a few more. is it better to tell ChatGPT what type of music you are planning to ask sooner? You could do that. I've seen examples of that. You could do that. But it's very adaptable. I've heard, some fantastic rock songs, folk songs, R&B, rap. It just copes with the prompt you give it really, and then just goes from there. So let's look at a few others. Right. Turn text into a natural sounding dialogue. Can I ask them to turn text into dialogue that sounds natural for a Haitian speaker of English, e.g. Henri, and a native Hungarian speaker of English, e.g. Marie? I would just say give it a go. Give it a go and see what happens. I can't answer to that because I could try it out, but I would just say give it a go and try it. Watch the recording and try it out and see if it works. I can remember in I was in Toulouse in April, and there was a teacher that had created a dialogue and had said in the instructions in the context scene that the two people were Scottish, and the dialogue that Gemini that Google AI Studio produced were two teenager sounding voices with a very strong Scottish accent, which I got really excited about. I didn't know that was possible. I always love to learn new things. And then I did a similar one testing it out with two people who were from Australia. And again, the accent was very typically Australian. So I would just say, give it a go, try it out. Okay. Let's have a look. Right. In relation to IB strands and criteria's compliance, that really is down to the data set of the different models or the large language models, be it ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. So I don't know the person that's asked that if you've tried that out yourself, but I found in the last couple of years that because so many teachers are inputting content to do with a particular exam board or methodological approach, that the AI is able to produce much, much more nuanced and precise answers. So again, I can't really answer to that. I tried to show you ideas which would work with in any sort of context, really, not just focusing on IB, because I appreciate there are lots of teachers here who don't teach IB. So I would just say give it a go and try it out. You will be getting the recording. A few people have asked about the recording. You will be getting the recording, presumably via email. Rob, is that right? Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, there will be an email sent with the recording. It might take a little while for it to process. And then you will also be able to find the recording and the presentation on IB Exchange.
Fantastic. I can see we've got a nice question at the end. Can AI play the role of a speaking partner? Yes, it can. And normally I show a tool called Mizu for doing that, Mizou, which is GDPR compliant. You can create a chatbot within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, which then plays the role of the character you give it. And then your students can interact with that chatbot, and you get to see the whole transcript of what they've said. And that's really nice. Another tool that allows you to do that is called Flint AI, which I know is proving popular around the world at the moment, along with Mizu. And with Flint AI, you can do lots of things, but one of the options is you can create a speaking partner in the target language. You can have more sort of granular controls. You can choose to have it speaking only or speaking and writing. You can choose the speed, the pace, those sorts of things. So if you want more control, Flint may be a good option. Again, there's a free tier for that. And also, as I mentioned, in EdCafe, you can create a chatbot as well. So different possibilities. If the students are using ChatGPT to use what's called advanced voice mode, they can do that. But I would be hesitant unless your school allows the students to use ChatGPT to be recommending that explicitly. Obviously, at home, if they wanted to, they could have a nice chat with the chatbot as long as they are not sharing any personal information. And the nice thing about Mizu, Flint AI, and EdCafe is they are teacher facing. In other words, the teacher gets to see every interaction the student does, gets to see the transcript, etc. So that's much better. But I'm not naive enough to think that the students aren't wanting to practice using, let's say, ChatGPT, and they could, technically speaking, do that. But I'm just saying, putting that out there. I'm not saying that I'm condoning that use, as it were. That would be up to you. How differentiation will be done with AI, especially for learners with learning issues, learners on support. I think AI is wonderful for that sort of thing. In the way that I've shown you, you could easily take a text, make it easier. You can make an audio version of the text for those students that find it easier to listen to the content and play it back as many times as they need to. You can make different worksheets with a tool like Diffit or with ChatGPT or with the cartoonized worksheet that I showed you. You can create differentiated resources much more quickly compared to how you would do it, say, traditionally. Okay, I think those are all the. We have still got another 5 minutes, so let's see if there's any other questions I can see in the chat. If you have any more questions, put them in the Q&A. But let's see if there's anything else.
I'd like to mention I see a lot of people looking for connections to share ideas um, with each other, uh, and WhatsApp groups are great. And but we also I have to plug our IB Exchange Language B and Ab Initio community. Um, on the IB Exchange platform. It's a great place to go and ask questions that are kind of specific to IB curriculum or share ideas about what you're doing in the classroom.
Amazing. I can see that someone's asked about my email address. If you want to get in touch with me about any sort of learning, for years I've been saying just get in touch with me. That's not a problem. So I'm more than happy for you to contact me via email, messenger, LinkedIn messaging, whatever you would like. I put my social media out there, so I'm more than happy for you to contact me. And as I said, if you'd like me to come to your school or do an online session, I would particularly like to hear from you. But I'm happy just to troubleshoot any issues that you may have. And I'm not just saying that I really mean it. I've been doing this for full time sort of as a trainer for 17 years, but ever since about 2005, I've been helping particularly language teachers with EdTech. So I enjoy helping people. If I don't know the answer to something, I then find it out. So yeah, you're more than welcome to get in touch if you'd like to. Someone's asked about the prompt for the worksheet creation idea. I put that in the chat, and I've also shared the presentation link in the chat as well. And as I said, I'm going to be writing a summary of this for my Facebook group and LinkedIn. I would really encourage you to connect with me in my Facebook group, because it's a safe place. We don't get any spamming, because I'm very careful about only letting people in who have answered the questions and who are sensible and professional. And if there are any issues, I just remove people. So we don't want lots of spamming or promotional stuff, etc. So I take a lot of time, even though it's just me doing it, to manage that. Any other questions at all from anyone? This is a perfect opportunity to ask me some questions. And okay, some people are asking for the link again. So let me find that for you. So if I copy that and I'll put it in the chat. There we are. And I will give you my contacts details again here, even though I've given you the presentation already. There we are. So those aren't live links, because they are live links in the slide, but they're not here. So you just have to work out what they are. You've got my username there, etc. So that should be fine. And yeah, any other questions, anyone? This is your opportunity to ask me some more questions if you'd like to.
While people are typing, I'm going to put a link for our events hub. We are hoping to have Joe back next semester, along with some other cool speakers. So please bookmark our events page and check out what we'll have for you in the future as well.
Amazing. And I know I've said this already, but I would just like to really thank Rob and Geraldine for your hard work in the background. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm delighted with the outcome today. I think it seems to, one, everything worked as I wanted it to. And two, you've asked some really good questions. I've tried my best to answer them. If you have any other questions, feel free to to get in touch. But I think the whole issue around does it work in X, Y, and Z language, I would just say give it a go, try it out, experiment, see if it does work. And if you get really stuck, you can get in touch. That's not a problem. The tool I used to make the images was ChatGPT, and just I see. Sorry, the images I made for the PowerPoint, I used ChatGPT for doing that. So I uploaded a picture of a robot. I uploaded a picture of myself, but I said I wanted a cartoonized version. I put in a long prompt whereby I explained the positions of both characters for each image that I wanted, and then it then generated the images for me one at a time. And yeah, I was very pleased with the outcome, and I'm glad that you appreciate it as well. That's great. Thank you so much. Lovely. So I think we're done. So get in touch if you want any more help, and I'll see everyone else online. And of course, as I said, I would love to come back to do more work with IB in the future. So thanks again, Rob. Thanks again, Geraldine. It's been wonderful.
We look forward to having you back. Thank you, Joe and Geraldine, and thank all of you for spending your time with us. I really appreciate it. And if you have some more questions or would like to continue discussing, come on over to the IB Exchange community and continue the discussion. And once again, you can look for this recording and presentation up on IB Exchange pretty soon. And you will also receive a link, a follow-up email in the next few minutes. So thanks
I
again,
just
everybody.
want to say I attended Joe's the four courses. They are amazing, and I highly encourage everyone to attend those lessons, those courses. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Geraldine.
All right. You all have a wonderful day.